Welcome to the Sorcery Podcast, your sacred space to delve into spiritual tools, topics, and practices that will illuminate your path of soul remembering and healing. I'm your host, Ligia Costa, a soul guide, alchemist, soul writing coach, and the creator of the Trust Pathway. I'm deeply grateful to have you here with me. Together, we will embark on a profound exploration of self-discovery and healing, unlocking the secrets that lie within. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sorcery Podcast. And today we are diving into a topic that I go on and on and on about all the time because too many of us tend to shy away from, and it's all about shadow work. It's often said that we fear what we don't understand, and this rings particularly true when it comes to our own inner darkness. Throughout history, societal norms and expectations have forced us to suppress certain aspects of ourselves, which was deemed as unacceptable or even dangerous. Women, for example, we were confined by rigid standards. We were unable to express our thoughts, sensuality, our intelligence. And the witch hunt came from the church and the monarchy, fearing the power of women coming together, fearing simple things as healing with herbs and midwifery and things that they couldn't do or understand at the time. And because they didn't understand it, they start to fear it, so they start to ban it. And these limitations ingrained such a fear on our own depths, pushing us to hide our true selves, our shadows, both the golden shadows, which are our gifts, our skills, our potential, and the darker shadows, which are things that are deemed to be unacceptable or disgusting or that we think we need to reject in ourselves. And so we hide all of these things from the world and even from our own awareness. But today I want to make it a mission to challenge this notion, to open a conversation about the concept of the shadow, of those hidden and unwanted parts of our personalities, and to explore why embracing them is essential for our growth and for living an authentic life. So, what exactly is the shadow? In a nutshell, the shadow is those deep, unseen aspects of ourselves that we often reject or deny. Think of it as the yin to our yang, the darkness to our light. But here's the truth. To fully embody the positive qualities like kindness and generosity, we must acknowledge and accept the counterparts within us, even the unpleasant ones. We can't have light without darkness. And the way to acknowledge that is to understand that, for instance, kindness and compassion heals anger. Love heals resentment. So there are always emotions that counterpart each other, but they need each other. There couldn't be one without the other. So the shadow often reveals itself through projection, when we unconsciously attribute our suppressed emotions and qualities to others in a way of avoiding self-confrontation. And these projections happen because, in my understanding and in my belief in everything that I do, is that we are all mirrors to each other. And what we project in our outer world is what is in our inner world. So for instance, if we are not feeling confident in ourselves, we tend to project that into others. So we start to judge and criticize those that are confident, those that look good, or that emanate that energy of feeling confident in their skin and loving themselves. And because we are all mirrors to each other, we always project both the good and the bad. If we are feeling good, if we are feeling good with life, good with ourselves, we always treat other people with more kindness. We always smile more, even to strangers. So if you always remember this, you'll understand, or at least have an almost instant awareness that when we are not accepting something about others, when we are judging or criticizing something in others, we are actually reflecting what we can't accept in ourselves. So how do we embark on this journey of self-discovery and acceptance? And the answer is to do the shadow work, to do this process that invites us to question our discomfort rather than dismiss it or suppress it or ignore it or even reject it. It starts by having this self-awareness about how our reactions are actually projections of what's inside of us, and by observing our emotions without judgment. And when we engage in this honest reflection, we begin to understand the mysteries of our own shadow. And you can do this very present and grounded reflection through practices like meditation, through journaling or soul writing, which I always recommend, or even dream analysis, because our subconscious mind always brings what's going on in our awakened life to our dreams. And understanding what our dreams are trying to tell us is a very good way to understand what's hidden inside that we keep suppressing in our awakening life. The purpose of shadow work is not to be hard on ourselves. It is actually the opposite. It's about having self-compassion. We must be kind to ourselves, understanding that judging our shadow only blocks our progress on healing these parts of ourselves, but also embracing our darkness, the parts of ourselves that we feel uncomfortable showing up, or we feel that is not acceptable to society, requires a lot of honesty. It requires us to be very, very honest with ourselves and to acknowledge when we criticize others. It's a clear sign that we are deflecting from our own shadows, that we are just trying to project what's inside to other people, and those feelings of rejection and disgust and guilt and embarrassment and fear that we have with ourselves, we start to project those onto others. And that's why it's really important to be very honest with ourselves, but always with kindness and compassion. The thing is, we live in a world that more and more encourages to chase happiness and comfort, but in a way that is very materialistic or very IG greed worthy. But shadow work reminds us that true fulfillment comes from embracing our entire being, both our light and our shadows, and that chasing that happiness and comfort that doesn't come from within is just a distraction or a way of us trying to numb what's really inside, and that's blocking us from feeling true happiness and comfort with our own skin. There is nothing wrong with chasing the materialistic and chasing the things that we believe are going to make us feel happier, but if that happiness and that comfort doesn't come from within, it will never be enough. You will always be chasing the other next thing, because that happiness is going to be fleeting. So if you are open to acknowledge your shadows and facing your fears, and also uncovering the golden aspects that you have within you, the parts of you that you were made to believe were too much and were making other people uncomfortable, and that are really your skills, are really your gifts and your passions and your aspirations, and you just kept hiding those parts of you because you believe that they are not acceptable, that other people will judge you or they will feel uncomfortable around you. Doing this shadow work will help you to uncover that as well. It's not all about just the darkness. For instance, the same way we project to other people the shadow part of us that we reject and we feel guilty and ashamed about, we also project to other people the gifts and the skills that we are hiding, even unconsciously. And an example of this is when you admire something in someone, a skill they have, or a gift they have, or something they achieved, or the way they are so authentically them living to their purpose. When you admire something in other people, again, you are projecting what you already have inside. That's a very good way of recognizing what you already have inside. The gift, the skill, the talent, the dream, the aspiration that you already have inside, but you have been hiding from fear of being too much or making others uncomfortable. Before I wrap this episode, I would like to leave you with a soul inquiry from the Trust Journaling deck. And the card that I pulled is from the Truth Suite. And the soul inquiry is, what do I do because I have to? Does it make me feel happy? And the affirmation is, happiness is my birthright. How on point is this soul inquiry and this affirmation for this episode? I always get amazed with how accurate this is. And it goes back to feeling happiness from within and doing things or living a life because it's how we think we should live. And when we hide our shadows, both the golden and the dark shadows, we don't live authentically. We don't live in alignment with our own essence. So yeah, that's a very, very good soul inquiry for you to spend some time reflecting on. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I hope this exploration into what shadow work is has inspired you to start embracing your own depths and embark on the path towards self-discovery. It's really important to remember that your shadow is not something to be feared or hidden away. It's your essence. It's an integral part of who you are. And the best way to live a more fulfilling and happy life is to embrace it, is to be your whole self with both the light and the dark. We all have duality in us. There can't be light without darkness, and there can't be darkness without light. So it's really important that we embrace both the light and the dark within us and just be ourselves, how we truly are. If you would like to explore shadow work through deep soul writing and find your authentic self, I have a fabulous, very in-depth ebook that is all about uncovering your true self and remembering your soul essence. This ebook contains over 150 soul-searching inquiries that follow a pathway of self-discovery for you to journal on and to reflect and to help you uncover your authentic self and align your life with your soul's calling. Through these soul inquiries, you'll be able to witness what has been keeping you stuck from living a more soul-led life, from being more connected with your intuition, and from evolving and growing and expressing your authentic self. Because in order to really uncover your authentic self, you must go back to who you were before playing any roles and strip any identities you were bought into the belief that you should wear to fit in, to feel loved, to be accepted. And so you just hid the shadow part of you in order to be accepted and to fit in. So yeah, this amazing self ebook is only £7.99 and will be a great help to guide you through this shadow work. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for listening to the Soulstory podcast and for holding space for this conversation. It is truly magical to be able to walk with you on this journey of soul healing and inner transformation. If you resonated with this episode and found it valuable, I would be grateful if you could leave a review on iTunes. Your feedback helps me reach more souls searching for guidance and healing. For more guidance and soul wisdom to support soul awakening women through the journey of alchemy, please visit my website www.ligiacosta.co.uk. Love and healing to all. See you on the next one.